Are you enraptured in the magic of that film already, as I am? Well, stay with this conversation as we welcome Mr. Prince Daniel, who is a screenwriter and film director. Let's get right into the conversation. Mr. Daniel, many will be wondering, what is it about Mai Martaba? First of all, pardon me. Good morning and welcome to the program. We're glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
It's a privilege.
Indeed it is, to have you as well on our show. What is it? Many wonder, what is it about Mai Martaba, among so many other also amazing films, that have been released this year, that qualifies it to make it into the international feature film for the Oscars 2025? So talk to us about that.
All right. Thank you to Channels TV for having me. It's quite a privilege. And the same question I asked myself, why Mai Martaba? Because we have, especially this year, very amazing films in Nigeria. But I leave that to the wisdom of the Nigeria Official Selection Committee. But we feel very, very excited and very humbled. We feel privileged that of all the good jobs in Nigeria, Mai Martaba has been selected to contend for the Oscars in the IFF category. So yes, we're excited. Yes, we can explain. But of course, we put in a lot of work, as you can see, and it's been close to 3 years coming. We're happy, to be honest.
I can tell from your expression. But how fully representative of the movie industry is this National Selection Committee? Do they represent the interests of the generality of producers, directors, and all other stakeholders in Nollywood? Yes,
I can say yes, because the people in the NOSC are very seasoned filmmakers. So I have no doubt on their credibility as to representing the entire industry, which has also been demonstrated over the years with all the entries from Nigeria. They are men and women of integrity, as well as I can say. And this is not to say because we are in. However it played, we would accept it. In any case, we went in with 2 films, but one came out representing Nigeria. So I believe they do what they do in the best interest of the industry.
So, Prince, let's for clarity, is this proposed to be? Is this proposed to be like a film that should be at the Oscars, or is already one of the films that are nominated for the Oscars, so that people who don't understand how this thing works will be very clear?
Okay, how it works is that there are every other category in the Oscars for the films from the United States of America, and but there is one category called the IFF, which is for the rest of the world. So if you follow what the announcement, there are 85 films from outside the United States of America, and mostly language films. The 85 as published will be competing for a space in 2 categories. One, at the end of all at the moment are submissions from different countries.
Okay.
And every country is expected to have just a film. That sums up to make the 85 for this year, after which it will come down, sometimes in December, it will come down to 15. Then in January, it will come down to 5. So these 5 will go in as nominated films. So there is the submission from the countries, and then there is the nomination. So now from Nigeria, we are flying Nigeria's flag in the Oscars. From Africa, there are about 7 films. Kismet from Cameroon, There is another one from Tunisia. There's another one from Algeria. There's another film from Senegal. So we're all going in to compete with other people from other parts of the world. And we're optimistic that we will break the jinx of to go up to nomination. Nigeria has never had a nomination at the Oscars. We've had submission. The first one was rejected because the local language was less than 50%. That was Lionheart, Genevieve's Lionheart. And then Milkmaid by Desmond went into, but didn't make the cut for a nomination. And last year, Mami Wata, CJ Obasi's Mami Wata went in, but also didn't make a cut for the nomination. But for strange reasons, we feel very optimistic. We feel very confident to get up to the nomination stage.
Amazing, amazing. But on the other side, some people will say, why do we box ourselves in for foreign validation? Because you're saying 85 films that will trickle down to 15, and then eventually 5 just for one category. When the Americans have the entire category, what happens to our own, award system here in Africa? Maybe you can posit that whilst we are celebrating, and hopefully we'll celebrate the fact that Mai Martaba will make it to the nomination level at the Oscars.
Yeah, so the Oscars is the Oscars, and that is what it is, just like the Grammys is the Grammys. And in a simple layman's explanation, it is like the Super Eagles going to the World Cup. And it is what it is for an athlete to go to the Olympics. So it's a bigger stage. It opens you up to tell your stories, to share your stories and ideas with a global audience. But that is not to negate our own industry. I can tell you for free, the 2 films we entered for consideration for the Oscars, which I produced and directed, are Kaka, which is on girls' child education, is also Hausa, and Mai Martaba. And Kaka has already moved into different festivals. With the AMA nomination and the AFRIF selection, we've had like 29 selections across 5 countries. We won Best Nollywood Film in UK, Best Costume in the US, Best Nollywood Film in Canada for Kaka. So as we do our festivals, as we appreciate our festivals, it is also good that we go to the global stage and play. And that way we will open the windows to investment into the creative industries. And I can give you an example with what China is doing by a benchmark survey conducted by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. It was a 15-year benchmark survey to ascertain the resilience of the creative industry in the world. And they found that was between 2002 and 2015. And they found something very interesting, that while the global average was 7%, China was growing at 14%, double digit. So they dug deeper and they found that what was China doing differently? They found that China had the largest export on creative goods and services. And that moved their creative goods and services revenue from $32 billion in 2002 to about $191.4 billion by 2014, not even up to 2015. So when you don't play in the global stage, you might just be shooting yourself on the foot. Like the Minister of Arts, Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy has said, she's driving the industry to $100 billion by 2030. So you can't do that within the stream in our country. So as we play locally, as we appreciate AFRIF, as we appreciate AMA, as we appreciate Abuja International Film Festival, Cardiff, Bayelsa, and all the other festivals in Nigeria, we also have to be global players if we must drive in the creative economy revenue.
And you're corroborating the advocacy amongst practitioners in the field for a powerful collaboration in a movie between Nollywood and Hollywood, where we'd see a synergy of the abundance of talents that are abound in both industries. We must not miss an opportunity to speak to Mai Martaba. It appears it's a return of the epics, and from what we have read, Mai Martaba is a story setting an ancient Hausa kingdom. So tell us about it and some of the lessons that we can learn, from this story and its relevance to our times.
Yeah, so again, if we have to reposition or position the African film industry, we have to first appreciate that the future of African cinema are indigenous content. You could see that the biggest numbers on the streaming platforms are basically language films. And then if you go back to 1969, when Africa won its first Oscars with Z from Algeria, to 1976, when Ivory Coast then won with Black and White in color, to 2006, when Tutsi from South Africa, is a film in Swahili, won. You then appreciate that there is the need for Nigeria to look inward again. Looking inward is, how do we cultivate our stories? How do we tell our stories in our language to share with the world? So what we did with Mai Martaba is just following, going back to the basics.
All right.
And going back to the basics is, of course, simple. Let's be able to tell our own story in a language we best understand, as much as we subtitle it. So it took us back to an imaginary ancient kingdom called Jalaba.
All right.
And we went back to Daura to shoot from...
Release date, and streaming platform. We're totally out of time.
Oh, okay. So, well, for now, since we're in the Oscars, we'll pursue it.
Okay.
Release dates will come later.
All right.
But we want to beg Nigerians that at this point, it's not our film. It's Nigeria's entry. So we need everybody's support in any way. So
go, Mai Martaba, bring us this nomination and indeed the win, and it will be celebrated. We want to thank you so much, Mr. Prince Daniel, for your time, and we appreciate your work in this amazing film that has made it into the Oscars for the category of International Film Festival. Thank you so much, Mr. Prince Daniel.
Thank you very much. I can say at this point, Nagodi.
Yes, indeed, Nagodi. All right, so that's how it's been on the show today. We'll be back again tomorrow with the home stretch. Thank you so much for watching. I am Bukola Koka.
Thank you for watching. Sunrise is up next at the top of the hour. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Bye-bye.